Okay, let's talk about the 6 most costly mistakes I made when purchasing my first box truck. In this video, you're going to get a bird's eye view of what to look for when buying a used box truck. You'll also gain insight on what type of questions to ask or research. These 6 mistakes I'm going to share are avoidable, but they are rarely discussed online. You can avoid my mistakes and get a strong start on your trucking company. So let's get started. Mistake number 1, I waited too long to act. Once you get the idea of purchasing a box truck, go ahead and get an idea of how much these trucks cost. Not only that, by checking on the prices, you begin to see, okay, where are you in the marketplace? Are you at a top or are you at the bottom? Or have you found a great deal? Or are you probably in a situation where you should wait? You see, I was thinking about buying a truck, but I didn't really act on it until the opportunity came. And when I did, I actually bought the truck within 5 days of making the decision, or 5 days of having the opportunity. So when I seen the price of the truck, I was like shocked at what they were. They were probably twice as much as they could have been had I looked at the truck when I first had the idea several months prior. Once you start looking at a truck, like I said, you'll begin to know whether or not the price is a good deal or not, and then you can work from there. But here's the thing. If you don't know what you're looking for, then when you start looking at the details of the deal, how will you know that it's good? When I was doing my research and looking for a truck, I made sure the truck had a lift gate on it. It had air ride. I was looking for Allison transmission or Cummins engine. I knew I did not want anything that needed a CDL, so I was looking for a non-CDL automatic truck. At the time, I didn't really know the difference between a Freightliner, International, or Mack, and I was looking for International because that was the most common type of truck that I was seeing others buy in the marketplace. Now, when it comes to price ranges, whether or not I had a good deal or not, it was more about, okay, what's the affordability? What is the mileage the truck is at? Is it worth me paying the X amount of dollars for 500,000 miles or less, right? So I really needed to make sure that it was an overall best value compared to other trucks that were available to me on the market at that time. And then of course it gets into, hey, how does it run? Any mechanical issues? So once we knew all the details and then the price compared to what was on the market, that's when I knew whether or not that was a good deal or not. So you want to make sure that you do your research and you compare what else is on the market. You test drive and you really gather and you take note to be able to see, okay, this is the price the market is at. This is where they normally go for. And right now, this is where we are for these types of vehicles. I think that will help you make the best decision on purchasing a truck. But I think the most important thing is you need to start now. Even if you're just not ready to get in the business yet, start now to look, because that way you have a baseline of where it's starting from. And say 6 months go by and you don't really act, but then you go back and you look and you see the price goes up, and then you'll know where you are and you understand whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market. Another mistake I made when I was buying my truck is where the funds are located. I have several savings accounts. I didn't have everything in one account. I may have a savings account here, checking account there, but it really made it a little more challenging when I had to begin to consider, do I want to transfer all these funds to one account and then have her wait 2 or 3 days? Or do I just want to go ahead and just, wire the funds from each account and pay those fees? So it's important that when you're getting started, go ahead and put the money you believe you're going to need into one account. It will save you on the wiring fees, it'll save time, and it'll just help you make the process much more clean and streamlined. So a mistake I made was not having the money in one account. although I wasn't planning on purchasing anything, having more time to make that transfer would have made the process so much more streamlined. The third mistake I made was not following directions. When they say recommendation, it's for a reason. So I don't know exactly where I went wrong, but I can say this could have been a contributing factor. I just don't know, because there was something else that happened that I'll discuss later. But instead of buying the Cummins engine and the Allison transmission, we bought a 2013 International that was a Durstar. I think it was a Durstar engine. I think it was like 4300 was the model. And I didn't understand what the difference was. It shouldn't be a big deal, right? It's just an engine is an engine, and it possibly was. But later, after my purchase, I began to understand why. But I also learned that the International Durstar challenges really applied to the semi trucks, not so much the box trucks. But it was just a lingering thing in my mind that maybe the reason why I had the problems I had with the engine was because I bought the wrong type of engine. But at any rate, just make sure that way you don't have to deal with that doubt that maybe you had made the wrong purchase. Just make sure you follow recommendation. If people are saying make sure you get a Cummins engine, Allison transmission, do that. It's there for a reason. Unless you understand the nuances, whether it was a semi truck or a box truck, I don't know which one was the problem when they had those issue engines. It's better to err on the side of caution and just follow recommendations and understand why they're there for. And before I move forward, I'll just say that I'll tell the story about what happened with the engine, the truck that we purchased, in another video. Just know that we did have engine problems, and it did create a lot of creativity to figure out, but we were able to save the truck, we were able to keep it, and we immediately went from one truck to two trucks after this whole ordeal. The fourth thing that I'd say was a mistake, or maybe a lack of understanding, was the MC versus the USDOT number. What I did not really understand is that even though we had got the MC number to be able to be for hire and use our truck to help other companies meet their delivery needs, on the DOT number, with the DOT number, you can still do work. You can still make some money with the DOT number, but you have to be within the state. So if, in our example, we were in Tennessee, we could have done work in Tennessee with family and friends, and just did like small moving jobs, just something to keep the truck, have a truck making money while we're waiting to be able to cover the insurance costs as we waited for the MC number to get approved for our authority. Now, just make sure if you decide to use the DOT number and operate within as a private carrier, even though you're helping people move their things, just make sure that you have the proper insurances in place, because you're still a business, right? You still have to make sure that you're in business as an insurance company. You're still a business. You gotta have the right bonding and insurance to be able to do that business in case accidents happen. In our case, because we did start off with buying it straight out, we would probably just need, just property damage and liability. But the truck was pretty much 100% owned by the company when we first started our business. Truck mechanic 101. Okay, so when you're buying a truck, make sure that you either have a certified mechanic who is qualified to work on trucks, and ideally certified for that brand of truck, because they kind of know the nuances and they're specialists, right? They know what to look for and what happens at certain intervals, time intervals or mileage intervals. So have a certified mechanic, or take the truck to the dealership if you don't have a mechanic on hand. When you're purchasing the truck, make sure, like I said, hire a mobile mechanic. If you don't have a mechanic that you can depend on, or if you're not close to a dealership, or the owner is not willing to drive it too far to get to the location, just have a mobile mechanic come to you, and they're certified, so you can hire them out, and they'll be able to, you know, plug the truck up to the diagnostics machine and run any codes that may present itself to give you a pre-purchase idea, a pre-purchase report of what you can expect has been happening with the truck. But here's the thing, even though you run a diagnostics with these trucks, sometimes nothing will show because the underlying condition that created the problem hasn't been met, or maybe the problem hasn't even occurred yet. So you have to be mindful that the diagnostics only giving you the glimpse shot of an instantaneous period of time. It may need to run a little longer, or it may need to just, you know, accumulate more time or get more heat in order to see exactly what else is happening in the truck. So just make sure you understand that sometimes a pre-purchase inspection might give you a false negative, or it just may not be an issue at the point. You know, there may not be any issue, but after you drive the truck for a while, then things start to happen because you are purchasing a used vehicle and you don't really know what you're getting. You don't know what issues are lying dormant until after you make the purchase. So just know and expect there to be some issues if they arise when it comes to purchasing used vehicles. But the thing is, do your best research to kind of mitigate some of those challenges. As I mentioned before, have a mechanic on hand. Just make sure you don't let a family friend or a recommendation that's not certified touch your truck, because I mentioned earlier we had engine problems, and I don't know if it was the truck's engine that was a problem, or an underlying issue that we did not catch, or whether it was the mechanic that we had allowed to do an oil change that caused us to have an incomplete engine failure 4 weeks after we purchased the truck. So I need you to understand that if you go to a dealership or have a certified mechanic, ideally a dealership, they will warranty their work, or go somewhere where they warranty the work they have. If the issue that comes up that's particular to that item, that component on the truck, they'll take care of it at no cost. They'll fix it and repair it. And the last thing, just kind of reiterate, I mentioned, you know, when you get a pre-trip inspection, there may be some other issues. I mentioned having a certified mechanic and making sure you don't let anybody touch your truck, right? The last thing I just want to make sure it's clear is, even when you take it to a dealership and you pay the funds, similar to the first item, you could have a lot of work done on the truck, and then once it leaves, 2 days later, a new issue presents itself. Because these are used trucks, just don't be surprised if it happens. It shouldn't happen, but if you're that person, don't get frustrated. Just remember, you are buying a used vehicle, and trucks they're massively big, but they are extremely sensitive. And when things break on these trucks, it costs. So just make sure that you have a driver who understands that you don't want to manhandle the truck. You want to take good care of them. If you take care of them, it'll take care of you in return. Okay, so that's Mechanics 101. And the last thing I would say for mistake number 6 is to prepare for the unexpected. So, like I said, I don't know what caused it, whether it was an issue that we didn't catch at pre-purchase inspection, whether the issue occurred when we were driving it from St. Louis to Nashville and it just kind of created an issue, or whether it was the unlicensed mechanic that we hired to do an oil change. One of those things, maybe all of those things, maybe none of those things contributed to us having an engine failure. And during our first week, I would say maybe a day or two in, the driver noticed that it wasn't operating the way that it was when he first started the vehicle to get it to Nashville. So we didn't know what to do. I'm sure he checked different things, but oil was not a problem until another day or two, and we realized there was no oil in the system. Where the oil went, we don't know. All we know was that first week, it was by the end of that week, it was a struggle getting the vehicle back to Nashville. And that cost me another $40,000 just to replace that engine with parts and labor. So I want you to know that you're making a big purchase. Just do things that will prevent, engine failures and unexpected costs, unexpected downtime. That way you can be in the best situation you can be as a new business owner. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I will either answer them in the comments section, or if I see multiple people asking the same question and I feel it's warranted, I'll just create a video and address it all to the entire group. If you want to go into more depth about anything in my business, please feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be sure to address your request. All right, well, thank you for stopping by. Make sure if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up so I can make more videos like this one. If you have any suggestions, leave them below to make this channel better. And do not forget to like this video so I can make more videos like this. Guys, it was real. I enjoyed myself. Until next time, goodbye.